versus me. Well, I guess it depends. What kind of men are they? I do not discriminate, but I do believe there would be a significant difference between Steve Buscemi and The Rock Johnson. 100 Timothy Chalamets or 100 Jayson Stathams. No offense, Timothy, but I'd rather take my chances with Wonka than the man who wrestles sharks. Albeit it was a movie, he didn't actually wrestle a shark. But there is something about Jayson that, well, makes me sleep with one eye open at night.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast presented by Amazon Prime. It's Wednesday, May 14th, 2025. I'm Jay Skeets, still here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Podcast listeners, this is definitely for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Ayo.
Ayo. And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is, here we are. Do we sound okay?
Yeah.
Had a false start there on YouTube. For some reason, we sounded like an 8-bit video game.
Not in a good way.
No, it was very distorted. We have no idea why. YouTube's been very strange the last couple weeks. JD, is that fair to say?
Fair to say. I'm not sure what's going on, but we seem to be okay right now.
All right, we're live. Do us a favor. Do it for JD. He needs it right now. Hit the like button. Subscribe to No Dunks on YouTube. Podcast listeners, you're fine. You're fine. He goes back. He combs through it. He makes it so crystal clear. Perfect. So you're good. You should leave us a 5-star rating and review. All right. Fun one here lined up for you today. On today's show, we'll discuss Jayson Tatum's surgery and what it means for the Celtics and honestly for the rest of the NBA moving forward. The Portland Trailblazers are for sale. You guys think we got enough money?
Hey,
what do you got?
I brought my money clip.
What do you got?
My money clip.
What you rolling
See what we
with?
got here. 2 credit cards.
Okay.
I do owe Tass money from Matt's wedding.
Okay.
In Montreal. I got probably like $68 right now.
I mean,
A lot of cash.
At least the beginning of a down payment.
yeah, okay, good start. But first, the basketball remains great. We'll start in the Eastern Conference, and we'll move to that Game 5 thriller between the Thunder and Nuggets in a little bit. But the Pacers, Tass, eliminated the Cavs 114-105. They advance back to the Eastern Conference Finals. No fluke, says Indiana and their fans. Cleveland stormed out to a big lead, looked really good there, but in the second quarter, it was Tyrese Halliburton catching fire. He hit 5 threes in that quarter, and it was a reasonable score at halftime, and then they did their damage in the second half and eliminate the Cavs, which I know we can get into and sort of talk about their offseason and whether they got to make, big changes. But we should start with the Pacers here, moving on.
Oh, we should. Congratulations.
There you go.
Big time.
Clapping.
Congratulations, guys.
I hope you audio podcast listeners are okay with a little smack there. Fantastic performance by the Pacers when it sure looked like the Cavs were going to win their first home game of the series to start. They looked so good. They were just hanging back with all 5 Pacers. They weren't doubling, so those passing lanes weren't there. They just had nowhere to go. They were playing incredible basketball to start. And for the first time in the series, I think Tyrese Halliburton had to say, all right, this is on me early in a game. He hasn't had to do that. He had by far his biggest performance of this series where he had to drop 31 is that second quarter where they're down 19 points. He goes bang, 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 bang. That's 5 shots in a row. He hit 5 threes where he had to step back and take monstrous threes. He decided, I'm going to have to do this. And the Cavs weren't willing to match as they went into the third quarter there. It was a super close game. But this
4-point game at the half.
This turned into a different game in the third quarter where the Cavs, Darius Garland was not there. He just was not himself. No. Max Strus had an 0 for night. Mitchell wasn't shooting the ball all that well either. So a lot of holes there. They stopped passing the ball. If we go and look at the player tracking stats in NBA.com, I mean, I hate those stats, but at the same time, they had over 100 more passes on the Pacers side. It was a pretty big discrepancy from 328 down to 215. They stopped passing while the Pacers use all their weapons. As Shai Gilgeous-Alexander said post-game in his game, he said, you're only as good as your weakest link. Well, the Pacers don't have one. I mean, to see Thomas Bryant have huge buckets. Yep. Thomas Bryant, huge buckets in that third quarter to just keep the Cavs arena dead silent. It did feel like a funeral, as Greg Anthony said. It felt dead silent. And they brought in Ty Jerome, who they didn't have in the first half because they needed somebody to score basketball. They went defensive, and that helped. But he was bad defensively. Tyrese Halliburton and Rick Carlisle did a great job of taking advantage of situations. Tyrese Haliburton went right at Ty Jerome over and over. Pascal Siakam went right at DeAndre Hunter over and over and over again. So they got him. And they took it into the fourth quarter. And, yeah, the Cavs tried, and, yeah, Donovan Mitchell tried. But it's all for the Pacers. This is all about the Pacers. Fantastic performance throughout this game, led by Tyrese Haliburton, again, for the first time where he had to be the guy early in the game. Obviously, we saw the game winner, but he hasn't had more than a 21-point game until this 31-point performance. Even in the first round, he didn't have such a big game needed. So the leader, obviously, of this team.
The Pacers just wear you down. This was a 5-game series. They were in control for 4 games. There was the wrinkle that the Cavs threw in of a zone in Game 3, and other than that, this was played as a Pacers game. They've got 10 guys, basically, who they're willing to play. Everybody runs. They are running nonstop. Everybody plays both sides of the basketball. The ball pressure is crazy. If you have a mismatch, you're getting the ball. Like, Miles Turner's not a great post-up player, but he can score over Darius Garland. Every time Darius Garland would end up on him on a switch, you're getting the ball. Score inside. Incredible stuff. I was trying to come up with a word for it. That third quarter, the Pacers lanch. Sounds terrible. I don't know what it is.
It'll stick, but
Yeah, the Pacers lanch. That's what it was, though. Cleveland, like you guys were saying, up 4 at half. They even stretched their lead to begin the second half of the game. Got it up to 9 in the first 2.5 minutes, but then Indiana calls a timeout. After the timeout, they got any shot they wanted. It was Haliburton in the lane. It was Siakam hitting threes or pull-up jumpers. I think it was Siakam that actually took the lead on a three-pointer. Out of the timeout that Cleveland calls, the press was on. And it was like, uh-oh. Cleveland could not figure out how to break the press. Next thing you know, it's Max Strus bringing the ball up. 0 pass, 1 pass offense. Max Strus trying to create and go to the hoop. It's like, what? This is the Cavs team that was playing beautiful basketball this entire season. This looked like the JB Bickerstaff Cavs, where they had no clue, no real plan on offense. I don't understand how they're unable to score for that long in the third quarter, and they keep Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade out there. It made no sense at all. It was making it even harder to score. You mentioned Thomas Bryant. He scored 9 points in the third quarter. That's more than any Cav. Like, that is the whole series there. You get to the fourth quarter, it did get close again, and then all the starters are back in for Indiana, and they made every single play. All 5 guys contributing. It was Siakam and Haliburton. The 2-man game was unstoppable in this one. Usually the pick and roll, kind of keying everything. Aaron Nesmith's doing his defense, his daring drives as well. Miles Turner grabbing offensive rebounds, hit that big 3-pointer to really ice the game when Cleveland was kind of like in between, should we foul or not? It was a 6-point game. Who knows? Wide open 3 from the corner for Turner. He knocks it down. And then, of course, Andrew Nembhard. This guy is awesome. Ultimate playoff riser for a role player. Hit a timely 3 in the fourth quarter. Had that and one on Garland with a minute left. They just dominated. The Cavs were completely dominated by the starting lineup of the Pacers, and the Pacers' depth was a lot better than the Cavs was this entire series.
I'm glad you brought up the first couple plays after the half at the start of the third quarter there, because out of the break, the Pacers failed to execute a play. Then they gave up a tough jumper to Mobley. He got 2 feet to the paint. Siakam was sticking with him. Mobley hit a hell of a shot. Then the Pacers turned the ball over, and then they let Garland veer around this very soft pick and roll up top, and he just went straight to the rim and laid it over the front of the rim. This is a guy who's obviously limited right now because of his toe. Timeout, Rick Carlisle, right away. I think it was 55 seconds into that second half. Nope. We're not doing this. Get your head out of your ass. We can end this series right now. And you said it, TK. They came back with the energy. And Kenny Atkinson after the game, he said, quote, the duration of their intensity, how long the Pacers can go. They press full court, and then they run consistently all game. They never stop. It's hard to do. I give them a ton of credit for that. It's extreme ball pressure. And it's like, and there was comparisons like they do have the vibes of like a college basketball team that like we're a full court pressing team. We have our identity and we're gonna run. Usually in the playoffs, Tass, it's like game slows down, turns into a half court set. Do you have the creators and the guys to get to the line? They're like, screw that. Let's just keep playing the way we've been playing since basically our defensive guys and Nesmith and Nembhard got back. Calendar flipped to 2025, and we got back to being the Pacers sort of last year. And they just keep running this. Like, they are on an unbelievable run right now. 42-16 since January 1st, when you include the playoffs. These 2 great series for them. They're awesome.
Yeah, it seemed like there could be a different Pacers team there where they went down in the second quarter, but Tyrese Haliburton just brought him on back.
What'd you say? Bang, 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 bang?
Yes, I said bang, bang.
I love
bang.
that.
They felt like they're getting deeper and deeper.
Yes.
Too.
Yes, yeah, every single one consecutively. I mean, the Pacer Lanch that seemed to be happening.
Catch it on already, huh?
Yeah.
Catch it on.
Yeah, that's what they do. I mean, it resembles the Cavalanche, which happens in Cleveland.
That's what it felt like.
Yeah, it did. And going from Game 4, where the Cavs got absolutely destroyed by the Pacers. You know, they just couldn't match their level whatsoever. You thought that the Cavs in that first quarter were somewhat matching it. And Kenny Atkinson's decision of bringing Isaac Okoro and Dean Wade into the lineup instead of Ty Jerome was working. Defensively, it was. And they're up 19. But the Kenny Atkinson moves, did not work. It did not work earlier in the series while Rick Carlisle, every button he pressed, it worked. Now we can get into the injuries and all that for the Cavs,
sure.
but
it played
really,
a part. It absolutely Garland. Did you was it at the start of the second half? He's like running around in circles to I don't know, appeared to like get feeling in his leg or his foot or something like that. He was like running like us at pick up basketball, trying to get loose.
He was limpy.
Obviously,
Mitchell was limpy as well.
Big limpy.
Yeah, and then, we had Mobley, we had Hunter miss that one game. I guess Sam Merrill obviously missed Game 5 with a neck strain, and those two main guys playing through obviously some pretty significant lower leg injuries. But they're out there, they're playing, and it still got very stagnant. And things were working at their best. Like, it was a little bit more Mobley and Allen and the big guys sort of playing the Pacers, and then they just sort of go away from that, and it turns into the can Mitchell just carry us, and Garland just couldn't give them anything. I mean, him and Strus just combined garbage.
Yeah, Mobley looked like the guy to go to at the beginning of the game, and maybe that you can definitely rip Kenny Atkinson for that, for not going to him more. He looked so calm and so comfortable and not rushing anything, and just looked patient, just looked like, hey, I'm bigger than Pascal Siakam. I can take him down there and I can hook him. And he did a nice job of that, but they did end up going away from that and going to their guards who were unable to perform. And DeAndre Hunter came in and did some offensive things, but he couldn't stop anybody on the defensive end. So that's the unfortunate part. But hey, it's all about the Pacers in this one. It is, even though Darius Garland, he went back to the touching the hair a few times. I was definitely keeping an eye on that as he did earlier.
It was impossible to miss this time
for sure.
I didn't think I didn't think it took him out of too many plays this time, but he was doing it a lot still.
Yeah, during plays for sure.
Yeah.
It's like somehow the braids are not tied down enough.
Yeah, they're not tight enough or something.
He's adjusting.
He's always adjusting like the tie on it.
I mean, they're big braids, so
they're very
it needs
big.
like a stronger thing almost to keep them intact back there. I don't know. Something to work on in the offseason. How about, I saw Ziller include this in his newsletter, before Game 5, because we heard Jarrett Greenberg reporting on TNT that Max Strus sent a group text to his teammates that said, quote, "If you don't believe, don't show up to work." Max Strus 0 for 9 from the floor.
He showed up. He came to work.
He did come to work, but he really mailed it in.
It was like the day after Thanksgiving. He's like, we got to work today?
Yeah, it's like, I'm just going to sit at the computer and read cool articles. Just pretend I'm working.
Taking a million BuzzFeed quizzes.
Yeah, Pacers, obviously we'll talk about them more as we learn who they'll be playing in the Eastern Conference Finals. It's looking like the Knicks. Can the Celtics make things interesting? We'll get into that. But do we want to talk a little bit about the Cavs? And what could be a fascinating offseason, because they have a decision to make, right? They win 64 games. It felt like we were on a collision course this entire season, if we're being honest. Cavs, Celtics, Eastern Conference Finals. We've said it time and time again. They're two 60-win teams. But obviously that's not happening. They have a lot of money locked up in their star guys. So Mitchell, Garland, already on max deals. Mobley starts his next season. And because he won Defensive Player of the Year, it kicks up to 30% of the salary cap instead of 25%. You got Jared Allen, DeAndre Hunter. They make starter money. Max Strus, $15 million. Okoro, $11 million. Ty Jerome isn't under contract next season, and there's some decisions. But what do you do if you're Cleveland here? Is it just like, we were banged up, we were injured, let's not panic, let's sort of keep the core together? Or did you see something where it's like, this is maybe not going to work, and maybe you move one of the main pieces?
Jared Allen, see ya.
You think so?
Yeah. 0 points, 1 rebound in the second half of this game. He was completely invisible in this game and in Game 4 of this series as well. You can get out physicaled by Mitchell Robinson and Isaiah Hartenstein in your first playoff series. You can't get out physicaled by Pascal Siakam and Miles Turner in your third playoff run. That was a pathetic performance from Jared Allen. That was why I had him as the guy who was like the biggest X factor. Mm-hmm. He did not show up in this series at all. Maybe the Cavs play better if they're not banged up, but they could not shoot. They completely abandoned their identity in this one. They were going defense for offense when that has not been the case all year. Kenny Atkinson didn't know which buttons to push. And you just look at the team they throw out there, and it's like, how are you ever going to guard anybody on the perimeter when it's Donovan Mitchell, Darius Garland, and Max Strus as your guys? Doesn't make any sense. That's what Utah tried, but it was Rudy Gobert inside and Donovan Mitchell outside. They couldn't guard the perimeter either. You got to be able to stop somebody on the outside. So I think it's time to break up Allen and Mobley. Start building around Mobley. This guy is the future for you. He should have had more shots. He seemed, other than Mitchell, like maybe the least scared guy out there, though I don't really think he's like a get on my back, we're going. He seems pretty mild-mannered. They need somebody, I don't know.
The entire team
They need a
feels like
red-ass
that.
guy. That's what they called Brad Miller when he came to the Bulls. They need a red-ass guy, somebody who's going to yell at you. It's Tristan Thompson, but who respects that guy? He's so deep on the bench. Separate conversation is Darius Garland. The guy's always banged up. He is always hurt and hasn't really produced in the playoffs so far. He's also a small guard. It's like they have two of the same player at two different positions. Doesn't really make sense. On the other hand, the East is going to be bad next year. If you run it back, you're probably going to win 50-plus games once again.
And maybe it breaks for you in the playoffs, and maybe you're not the injured team, and whatever, you don't run into a team that had your...
But I think they should move on from Allen at the very least, and I think they should explore Garland as well.
Yeah, the money is an interesting part of it. Unfortunately, they're a second apron team, and they're already paying their guys a lot of money at the top. With Garland getting into his extension here.
He's got 3 years, $167 million, I believe, left.
Yeah, Mitchell's getting paid a ton. Yeah, the starters are getting paid a ton. So you might have to decide between moving on. It's like the OKC days. Are we riding with Ibaka? Are we riding with Harden? You might have to decide on Garland or Jared Allen in one of those situations. Yeah. Well, yeah, Garland, unfortunately, he didn't perform, especially here in Game 5. He just wasn't right, obviously, physically. Yeah, that whole thing. But you look at Donovan Mitchell and the way he tried to get this team a win in game number 2 where he scored 48 points and everybody else is injured. He had this team on his back. And I love the way this guy gets up physically every time he's down underneath the hoop. Every single time. He's on his chest. He could just sit there, just get a rest for 10 seconds. He just pops up so fast, like he's in a play already. You love that about one of your leaders. You love what Evan Mobley has done. So it's the supporting guys. It is the question, especially because the front office took on a lot of money when they traded for DeAndre Hunter. That is a ton of money. So you're in your second apron. You really don't have a lot of ways to maneuver, so you may just have to get a lot cheaper in terms of your salary because you're not
similar to what happened with the Wolves last year. And they make a move. I mean, for a lot of it for the financial reasons, the Randall Cap move. Now it's working out really well for them, but that's maybe where the Cavs are at here. Because I think it's important to point this out because we always just say it, second apron team. What does that mean? That sucks. Well, it really sucks if you're like making your team better around the fringes. Cavs wouldn't be able to sign any free agents for more than the minimum. They can't make trades that aggregate salary or take on more money than sent out. They can't do sign-in trades with their free agents. And they can't use cash in trades to incentivize salary dumps. Those are your second apron, rules that limit you, handcuff you as an organization. So yeah, I think $218 million on the books next year. That is second apron's going to be around 208. So I think they're going to have to cut some of these guys here, one or the other, like you guys are saying, because
I think John Hollinger said that even if they wanted to bring Ty Jerome back on a $10 million deal, it cost them $62 million in real money.
Yeah.
It's hard, man. It's not like DeAndre Hunter is making a ton of money to be your sixth man. The guy couldn't even get in the starting lineup for this team. Yeah. They need an Aaron Nesmith. They need one guy who can play defense on the perimeter.
Yes, you said, and a guy with an attitude and a bit of a dog, because my issue with them is Garland is not that, Allen is not that, and Mobley, I'm sorry, is not that. I don't know if he will be that. Mitchell is, but he's their superstar.
Yes.
And I would like to have a couple other guys that are doing the dirty work and bring that attitude, and I think they need that on the roster, either in the starting lineup or coming off the bench, because, again, my opinions on Hunter. He was never going to be that guy.
No, they got him for the Boston Celtics to be able to switch on to Kristaps Porzingis and be tough there. But you saw him in game number 5. He had problems guarding Pascal Siakam. It's understandable, but they just went right at him when Pascal Siakam had an opportunity to go at him, and so that is a problem. Yes, they do need a few more dogs. That's just the way that it's going there for that team. It is so interesting, the second apron. Like, you can't take on more money in trades. Okay, that makes sense. But that you can't trade more than one salary in one trade. That whole, you can't aggregate salaries. That's strange. That's a strange part of it. Like, why can't you just lump together 4 monstrous contracts for one little tiny one? You know, like, there's ways around it. Anyways, these are tough rules. They're very tough rules. And yeah, it's totally true that Ty Jerome, you can't bring him back. You literally can't. You can't sign him. 10 mil to pay $62 million.
No chance.
That's not going to happen
after the playoffs.
No.
That's not going to happen.
They figured him out.
Yeah.
Don't let him bump you. It's that easy.
Yeah, he does all this reaching and stuff. He doesn't play physically enough.
He got a chance there in the second half of last night's game. He did hit a couple threes. Like,
that was his best game of
and he was
series.
trying to get the arena. You're right. I was like, okay, he's at least trying to get the team and the arena back in.
And then Halliburton packed him and went the other way.
Yeah. And this game got very close. Like, I guess it was Mitchell hit an insane 3, right? And then drew a foul in the corner. 3 shots, or on the side at least.
Yeah, it's a
and that's
3-shot foul.
He missed all 3 of them.
But then they go back they come right back and he hits a corner 3.
Yeah.
To bring it.
He was hitting a lot of big shots.
So that was wild. It went from 9 to 6, then he misses 3 free throws. Oh, this is over. But then the next play,
you're right.
he's in the corner and hits another 3.
And you're like,
now
oh,
it's
what
3.
what if he had hit those, or 2 of them even?
Yeah, that would have helped. He tried. He obviously tried with every single ounce that he had to get to his first conference finals ever. And it has not happened. He had a freaking great series, even though he's banged up, even though he didn't shoot well in Game 5. But he just needed some pals, like the Pacers did, unfortunately.
Okay, could the Lakers be a team maybe interested in Jared Allen? They're always looking for a big man, big center. That's a possibility. I don't know. Are they just going to offer what they offered for Mark Williams? And would you take it?
I would say no if I was Cleveland.
Yeah, probably.
You could probably get a better player. Jared Allen's still good.
Yeah.
He's just a big-time question mark in the playoffs.
Yeah, and
Skinny.
then as for Garland, I mean, a team that always comes up, someone that could use some scoring in the backcourt is the Orlando Magic. I don't know what type of deal you're looking at there. Anthony Black maybe as the piece and picks of some sort, but I don't know. It's we can explore that in the offseason. Yeah, lots of time to do that.
I don't mind it.
Do our
Jonathan
fake trades.
Isaac maybe as well.
Okay. Anything else from this game?
Yeah, I got a couple of things. I thought an emblematic play was early in the third quarter when it was like, are the Cavs going to take this or are the Pacers going to take this? Donovan Mitchell gets a steal, and man, he is so slow getting up the court. Turner hustles back, blocks the ball at the rim. Max Strus gets the rebound, but guess what? There's another guy behind him. Andrew Nembhard gets the block as well. I thought that was like, the Pacers are locked in right now. They sense this game is there for the winning, and they're not giving up even on the easiest plays. But also, you could tell Mitchell had 0 burst. He got that steal. That should have been a breakaway dunk.
Yeah.
And he got run down by the biggest guy on the other team.
Yeah. That was, and I know he was saying, oh, I hit it. You know, it was bang, bang.
It was close.
Did it hit the backboard and all that? Could have been a goaltending. Yeah. But the point is, we shouldn't have even been arguing about that. It should have been a fast break dunk or layup easily. But he slowed down, and the Pacers, they fought. I mean,
2 guys back. That was awesome.
Yeah, that's a great point. Turner was really good in this game.
He was awesome this whole series. He was the best. Well, Siakam was the best big in this. He was also awesome in this game. I thought he was a monster in the third quarter. But Turner played tougher than anybody on the Cavs. I thought.
And you said even coming in, like we were talking, like, okay, Mobley and Allen, you know, they got to win that matchup. The bigs against Siakam and Turner, they didn't come close. They had moments. Mobley had moments, but overall, you're easily going with Siakam, and Turner goes over those 2 guys. Yeah, how many conference finals is this going to be for Siakam? After just saying it, how many did he make more than one with the Raps? Just the one.
Just the one.
Just
well,
the one.
Wasn't
that 2016?
No. Was he part of that Cavs one?
No. I can't remember what he came.
No, he came into 2016, so it must have been right after.
All right, 3 for him. Pretty damn
3
impressive.
for him. Yeah, Miles Turner is a guy that people wondered, would he stay with Indiana? And there was talks about him leaving, and then they trade Demontis once, and then he's there. And then he just had this reputation of not being a guy you could rely on. But, man, the guy just hits big shot after big shot.
Yeah.
Step backs. This man loves his step backs. And he hit the absolute dagger. Even though the game was over, he hit the last corner 3. So, yeah, he's got this incredible reputation of guys you can depend on. And maybe we should give the refs a little bit of credit for not calling a goaltend, because that could be a way for the referees to go to the video review and see, okay, was it a goaltend or not? You call it, and then you can go back on it. So
it felt like even they were like, what are you doing, Mitchell? I mean,
hey, man, that's an easy
it looked early.
Why are you slowing down? Why are you putting
weird.
us in the position to maybe have to call goaltending?
Yeah.
We're not going to call it.
Yeah.
We're not going to call it. Any other random notes?
I think I'm all random out
Okay.
myself.
TK?
The only other thing I saw this, I was rewatching the third quarter on League Pass, so you get the in-arena feeds, and they had like a celebrity lookalikes camera, and there was a guy in the crowd for Cleveland who was dressed like Abe Lincoln. So, I looked up Abe Lincoln Cavs. Did anybody else notice this? I guess he just shows up at these games regularly dressed like Abe Lincoln. And I was like, is Abe Lincoln a celebrity?
Yeah.
Put him on the cover of Us Weekly?
Like, did he look like Abe Lincoln? Like you or
Enough.
Chet
Like he had
Holmgren?
like the yeah, he was beefier. He wasn't skinny like Abe and Chet, but he did have like the only beard, no mustache deal going on, and a dark black suit.
Okay, so he's committed to it for sure.
He's committed to it. Absolutely.
I'll give the Cavs credit for that, because I was just whining about it the other day when the home team, they give their crowd like white shirts, and then the road team is wearing a white jersey. Cavs did it right last night, at least.
Did it right.
They were all wearing black shirts, whatever the handout was, and then they were in their black jerseys. It looked better. It did. And then the OKC, they take it next level.
Consistency.
We got the blues and the whites.
That's right.
Maybe it was designed for Abe Lincoln to come in his
Maybe,
black
so he could
suit.
blend in. Yeah. Do it for Abe.
Those are all.
That'll be
people
their rallying cry next. Do
it for Abe.
Put it on the T-shirt. Oh, they had what they have earlier today. They had in the season. Excuse me. They had the frogs. Remember that was an eternity ago. But remember the frog mascot that would come out and dance with them. Am I crazy right now? Or like, look it up. Look up Cavaliers frog. I swear to God that happened when they were on their 15-game win streak.
Moonfrog?
No,
that's not
that's Moondog. No, there was like for some reason a frog, and I don't even know how it started, but there was like an inflatable mascot frog, like dancing with them when they were, riding high. Wait, now you're shaking your head at me.
Well, this is just a weird search, man. I searched Cavaliers frog on X, and I'm seeing like a wet dog. I'm seeing a dog's booty. Homer Simpson.
We got it. The Cavs frog, also known as Froggy, is a viral internet sensation that became a good luck charm for the Cavaliers. She is a person dressed in an inflatable frog costume who's been celebrating the victories outside of the field house, I guess. It took off, yes. This season confirmed. Okay, I'm not crazy. Good.
Shout out to Google and not X. Worse searches on X. Much better on Google.
Good stuff. Okay, let's go to a fantastic pivotal Game 5 in OKC. SGA scores 31. Thunder beat the Nuggets 112-105. They take the 3-2 lead in the Western Conference semifinals. Came down to, obviously, the fourth quarter once again here, and it was OKC making the big plays. The ball movement was there. The shot making was there. And, just the nerves were a little bit better, and it was Jokic versus the rest of the Thunder, it felt like, once again.
Well, the nerves are gone for OKC. Last year, round 2 against Dallas, they were home in Game 5. Dallas got up, and OKC bailed a little bit. They just weren't the same type of team, and it looked like this could happen in the first half. Denver taking it to them, destroying them on the boards, up 10 on the boards, and going into the fourth quarter, it didn't look all that good, but kudos to Mark Daigneault playing Lu Dort.
Man.
In hindsight, what a great move. While it was happening, no one thought it was a good move. No, don't do it. Now, obviously, he put him out there for defense was the primary thing. Play Jamal Murray, who had finally a bad quarter in this game. He was 1 for 6 in the fourth quarter.
He was on that heater in the start of the third quarter.
Awesome.
My God, he hit that tough fadeaway jumper where Dort was in his shorts.
Yeah.
It was like, this is the Jamal game. But then he cooled off. He couldn't hit a 3 as the game went on. But sorry, jump in there.
And then Lu Dort on the other end. 3 monstrous threes in the fourth quarter to keep this thing going. Got to mention Jalen Williams before he doesn't get mentioned at all because, the box score not incredible, but this guy coming through with monstrous 3. The good one.
Okay. J-Dub.
Yes, okay. J-Dub. Jalen Williams, obviously.
Yeah.
He had probably the best series of his career. The not good one, the other one, who played Jokic as well as he possibly
great plus
could.
Minuses.
Yeah, he played. Yeah, that's what he did. But Shea, I thought you could see the growth even in Game 3, fourth quarter. He was 1 of 8 where he tried to go for the dagger, and then in Game 4, I thought he was a little bit better at not going for the dagger. And same in this one. Even though he hit the dagger, he didn't force it.
No, you're right.
He just let the game happen, and you can usually when you're up. When you're the big name guy and you're asked, come on, you go do it. Are you going to go do it? I thought that's what he was in Game 3 when Denver was able to go up 2-1 in this series, and he's grown. And you could see that dagger triple where he was awesome. And it goes from half to half for him because in the first half, he just wasn't himself. 4 turnovers, 11 points on 11 shots. He didn't look all that good. Second half, he was monstrous. 8 of 12, 20 points. And that dagger triple to be along Lu Dort and be along Jalen Williams and be along Chet Holmgren for the ride. This looked like a complete team. It looked like completely different than round 2 against the Mavs last year.
Denver went up 12 with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. And for the remainder of the game, Jokic, he did his part. He went 6 for 9, had 17 points, and the rest of the Nuggets, TK, went 2 for 24. 2 for 24. I can remember one Jamal bucket. I'm struggling to remember the other one, but man, that's bad because Jokic was doing everything else. But holy, 2 for 24 in a pivotal game.
Murray made one in the fourth quarter.
Definitely, that's the only one I can remember from that stretch. But somebody else hit one, and maybe it was Gordon, whatever. I'm not sure, but it was Jokic, and it was no help from these other guys.
You knew it was a banger because the NBA YouTube channel had a duel.
Yes.
A dual clip for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Nikola Jokic. 44, 15, and 5 for Jokic. I saw Brad Rowland here in Atlanta said the box score says that Jokic had 20 potential assists last night.
Ooh.
He had 5 total assists last night. He was passing the ball. The shots were not dropping. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 31, 6, and 7. Watching these guys trade shots down the stretch was awesome. Jokic hits the 360 no scope. Pure swish. Ball goes out of the frame on his jumper. Knocks it down. Joker's wild.
Oh, that's a good call.
An incredible call.
And the shots of the crowd going
Oh my goodness, man. Anthony Davis must have been having nightmares.
Yeah.
He's seen that happen a whole bunch of times. The next play down was the wide open corner 3 for J-Dub. Great screen by Isaiah Hartenstein to catch Jokic underneath. I mean, I don't think Jokic was going to get out there either way, but smart to keep him from challenging. Then we had Michael Porter Jr. What are you doing, buddy? Lu Dort was their hero for the Thunder. The 3 threes, he had the save that ended up, the ball swings around. It's like Chet gets that weird layup at the rim. Yeah. Michael Porter Jr., the absolute GOAT, I thought, for the Nuggets. His previous 3-point attempt was with 7 minutes and 45 seconds left in the third quarter. So by the time he's taken a shot with 18 seconds left in the game, that's an hour? An hour and a half, maybe? Wow. I can't believe Jokic trusted him with that shot. I also can't really believe that Porter took the shot so quickly. There was 18 seconds left on the shot clock. He did take a midi with like 6.5 minutes left, way short on that one too. But that was really the difference in this series so far, is that Denver's 3-point shooters haven't been able to shoot. Jokic finally knocked him down last night. We said he was going to have to hit jumpers to be able to win in this series. He was really good. But you look at Porter against the Clippers, he went 15 of 34 from 3. That's 44%. So far in this series, he's 7 of 27. Westbrook is out there as well. Against the Clippers, he went 13 of 31, 42%. So far, he is 5 for 25 in this series. That is 20%. I didn't think that the Thunder depth pieces played all that great. Like, Jalen Williams was good guarding Jokic. He did his part. Caruso had a nice run, especially in the first half. He was wisely on the bench for Dort in the fourth quarter, I thought, by Mark Daigneault. But the fact of the matter is, those guys at least played. At least there are some options for Daigneault to get his guys just a little bit of rest. You look at the second half minutes. Jokic played all 24 minutes in the second half. There's no way he can sub out. And he was still great in the fourth quarter, though he was very slow on defense. You see a lot of these 3-pointers by the Thunder, and it is parts where Jokic maybe is dropping the ball defensively. But Murray and Brown both played 22 minutes. Gordon played 19 minutes. On the flip side, SGA 22, Chet and J-Dub 19, Dort 17, Hartenstein 17. Like, the differences aren't all that big, but those 2 or 3 minutes are enough to have a finishing kick, which the Thunder have had in back-to-back wins here. 2 gut check wins coming from down on the road and then down at home. You don't want to lose that going back to play in Denver. This is a young team. Everybody's saying, you got to go through it. You got to go through it. They could not get through it last year. Dallas was hot from 3. This year, Denver is not hot from 3. And OKC is executing in fourth quarters. It's impressive.
Huge, like, not only big shot making, but you brought up one of them, that Dort saving the ball in the corner. Just huge hustle plays from a lot of their guys. And maybe that part of it that is like, that Daigneault can go to his bench a little bit more. And these guys are a little more rested and have a little more juice late in the game, because Dort saving the ball in the corner after that missed SGA 3, that was big. Hartenstein tipped in an offensive rebound off a Chet jumper that fell short, and like Jokic mistimed it, got a little too much under the rim, but Hartenstein was right there. And then Holmgren blocking Murray floater attempt just awesome weak side help after Murray finally got by Dort, and sort of was like, wow, he's maybe going to like actually get to the rim here on him. Nope, Chet denied him. So those were huge. And yeah, the Jokic, man, he did everything offensively, but 2 of those Dort threes, they were gassed Jokic not. And part of it's the game plan, I get it.
Yeah.
Like, Dort hasn't been able to hit a 3 all series.
No.
So it's like, leave him. But like the first Dort moonball 3 was the one where like stopped Aaron Gordon at the rim. It was like 3 or 4 Thunder there, maybe a foul, but it wasn't called. They come in semi-transition. Dort hits that first one. The second one, Jokic just left him wide open in the corner. Easy shot in rhythm for Dort. And then the third one, after a couple like empty possessions, I think it was Jalen Williams. He sort of attacked from the corner and sort of was going to the paint. And, Jokic is like coming over to help, but it gets caught in no man's land. It just gets kicked to Dort and he hits it on the other side of the floor. So those were the 3 threes that like suddenly it was a 1-possession game with 6 minutes to go in regulation. But yeah, I mean,
even the SGA dagger, like Jokic is slow. They set a screen, it doesn't work. He's kind of just lingering back there. So Hartenstein sets a second screen. SGA uses it. There's nobody there. Yeah. Easy pull up, and he finally got the dagger he's been looking for 3 straight games.
Yeah, he was the monster. I mean, Jokic was the guy who played every single minute of the second half, just like he did last game. And so, yes, he's absolutely gassed, and that's part of the reason why Calvin Booth was let go in the front office. There just isn't a big to help him out. You go to DeAndre Jordan. I mean, Dario Saric was the play. He could be the backup center. It hasn't worked out, obviously. They just needed some minutes, and it has not helped at all. But Daigneault making that decision on the OKC side of not going to somebody else other than Lu Dort, who did hit threes in this series. He hit multiple threes in games 1 and games 2. Then you got cold. Yeah. You got super cold in games 3 and games 4. But you could go back to halftime and you could say Lu Dort should be out for Alex Caruso at half. Caruso's hot. He's hitting multiple threes so far tonight. He had a couple threes in the first half. So you could say that, and people were wondering. I mean, can't stop Jamal Murray. He can't hit threes. What is he out there for? But you go to him. He stayed with it. Yes, the offensive rebound at the end was monstrous. So great decisions, obviously.
Great decision. What a luxury too for Daigneault and OKC to be like, well, is it Dort's night or Caruso's night?
Yep.
Like, we know they're going to bring it defensively. They are at least going to have the energy. Which one of them is on? Which one of them is hitting their shot? And yeah, he called it right there.
As long as it's not Josh Giddey, we're good. Whoever out there, you can play. So yeah. It has worked out.
I mean, Dort
literally Giddey was out there on the court last year.
Yeah, it's totally true.
Yeah, look, Hartenstein and obviously Caruso have been huge, and if they go to the conference finals, if not to the finals, they're going to play a big part in that. Dort too, like I know Murray caught fire there. That was the Murray flurry there in the third quarter, early in the third quarter. But for all the times we've seen the Murray-Jokic pick and roll, which does feel a lot of the times unstoppable, Dort is the one guy that can actually sort of stop it because he just fights his ass through and around screens. And he's fast as hell and he's strong as hell. And yeah, he's not above a good flop or two.
That's right.
I loved when we had a Jokic Dort flop off there during the game. That was funny. But a lot of times when Dort wants to, that guy, man, he gets around a screen and stays with Murray. And like that's sort of like you got to just put so much effort into. That's how you stop it, or at least slow the Jokic-Murray 2-man game up top there.
He's an incredible screen navigator. So somebody make a
screen navigator.
Exactly.
Oh man, it's
where's that video?
Awesome to watch.
Somebody make a video
because you got to try your ass off.
Navigator.
Make it happen.
Something there.
He was so
Kind of funny, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, he had an R&B look at the podium afterwards.
Yes.
With his hair down, the glasses. Yeah, he was looking very stylish. OKC did an awesome job guarding Murray in the fourth quarter. They were trying to get Chet Holmgren switched onto Jokic the entire time. He wants that skinny guy on him to pick his teeth. But Murray couldn't shake Dort. Sometimes it was J-Dub that ended on him as well. And he stuck with Murray every single time. The size, the physicality was definitely giving Murray problems. I thought of all of the Denver players, like Murray looked like he was wearing it quite a bit in the fourth quarter.
I mean, all those threes that stretch where he got like three three-point attempts, and they were all good looks, but I think they were all short. Like, I don't know, the legs were going on him. He had a couple in the fourth even. You're like, he's open. He can hit that. And, he was clanking it. At least he was hitting the rim, unlike some of the other guys. A couple more air balls from Westbrook.
Oh.
Some bad ones. Those were 2 or 3 feet wide.
His were bad.
Oh, wow.
It was almost like, should Peyton Watson still be out there? He had a decent run at the start of the fourth quarter. He was making plays at least, but I think he shot an air ball 3 as well.
Yeah, I think
I'm
you're
pretty
right.
sure he did. Yeah.
This seemed like his hot 3-point night where he hit one in the first half, and Strother hit one too in the first half.
Yeah.
But they were depending on those guys in the second half again, which they have been doing, obviously, a lot with this team, unfortunately. They don't have the depth. They don't have the Wiggins, Cason Wallace, Aaron. They play everybody. They'll give you a J. Will, Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace, all great minutes.
They basically play 9 or 10. The Thunder do, where they got the Nuggets got 3 buckets from their bench, and would you say 2 of them were definitely in the first half?
Struthers was in the first half. His 3 was for sure.
So was
I remember
Peyton
that.
Wallace.
And so I think Westbrook's
yeah.
was that other bucket we were trying to remember. I think he had one at the rim, if I remember correctly,
Okay,
a
sure.
little dump in.
Yeah. But Daigneault has even taken Isaiah Joe out of the rotation a little bit. Because they're playing the rest of their depth. There's just too much depth on that team.
My one random note from this game, just because it was one of the weirder plays we've ever seen, was Jokic getting called for the offensive
that
foul
was hilarious.
when he got tangled up with J. Will, big Jalen Williams, and obviously he thought Jalen Williams was hooking him, but Jokic was sort of hooking Jalen Williams, and then he sort of ran with him across the court, and then they were like, I guess we got to call something and we'll call an offensive foul. I'm
How
happy
did they call that offensive?
Yeah, I think
call.
they were like, because they got locked up.
Yes.
And both guys could have let go of it, of course.
Yeah.
And I think they were like, okay, Jokic probably could bring his arms down if he wanted to here, and he's going to just run with them up. And
This guy's the MVP. He should get the benefit of the doubt.
well,
They
fair.
should have called it earlier.
luckily it didn't have an impact on really anything, thankfully.
True.
But so yeah, you're right. They could have called it early on Jalen Williams, but
Yes.
they didn't. They just let them stay there like this. And Jokic
And he
just
ran
with
30 feet
I
with
know.
the attached. That was hilarious.
So they're
man.
like, I guess we gotta call something here. Very weird.
You mentioned the flop off. That was awesome. Third quarter, Dort flops on a
Yeah.
Michael Porter Jr. screen. Offensive foul. Literally the next Nuggets offensive possession. Dort screens Jokic. Jokic flops. He knows. He knows when the makeup call is coming. He's going to get it right away. Did the same thing against Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Isaiah Hartenstein in Game 4. I also liked about 2 minutes and 20 seconds left. Jokic catches the ball in the right wing. Hartenstein's closing out on him. Jokic pump fakes. And it looks like he just hits Isaiah Hartenstein in the face with the
boop him
ball.
in the face? Yeah.
I didn't know if he really got him or if it was like Chris Bosh, like it looks like you got hit and you're faking it.
Right.
Nonetheless, Hartenstein's head flies back. Jokic goes and hits a tough floater bank shot over Chet at the rim. That was awesome.
And if he did hit him, that is an illegal move. You can't use the ball as a weapon or whatever.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think we ever saw a good replay
No.
on whether he contacted his schnoz there. But his head did jerk back, so he either flinched really hard or he did get hit. But yeah, Jokic got in there. Any other notes?
I'm just still thinking about Jokic's last shot.
Oh,
I mean, that is
the
incredible.
one that SGA hit where Murray was draped on him was pretty badass too.
And one.
The and one, and then that's when Jokic came down and did the pirouette 3 after a broken play. Didn't that thing get spit out to half court and he had to go track it down?
I think you're right.
Then he came up, did his whole Sombor shuffle and splashes it. Doesn't even like hit anything.
Amazing.
That was fun. That was a fun game. This is an amazing series. I don't want this one to end. And like, thankfully, this was our only series right now. At least that was 2-2.
Yep.
Now 3-2 OKC, and we go back to Denver. You think they got a chance to get this back to OKC and it goes 7 like we were predicting?
There's a chance. Yeah, Denver at home, there's a chance. I'm feeling OKC for sure, though. I mean, that's...
Look, I think it's pretty simple. Somebody's got to hit shots on Denver to go along with Jokic.
Yes.
Because, and this is like always the case, when Jokic has 40 to 45 points, or if not more, in a playoff game, they tend to lose more than they win. It's not the recipe they want. They want him to have the 10 to 15 assists because that means he's always passing it, but that means guys are hitting shots that he's generating, these open looks. So, yeah, you need a Michael Porter Jr. bounce back game or the good Westbrook game, or the random Christian Brown hits a couple threes game, like something like that. And of course it could happen.
They're going home
on Thursday night. Yeah, it could. But
they're supposed to be good at home.
OKC, to go back to something you were saying at the beginning, TK, it's almost like these are their reps, right? Like their experience here, because they didn't have a lot of really close games during the regular season. They just waxed teams most of the times. Now here in the postseason, games are closer. They've had some bad game 1, really bad coaching decisions, bit of a meltdown. But they're growing here as we go on over the last 2 at least.
They're figuring out how to win. They've been better in the last 2 fourth quarters, and that was going to be Denver's advantage in this series. We got Jokic we can figure it out in fourth quarters if it's close. Instead, they've blown leads in 2 straight games. So I think they still have a chance in Game 6. They got the big boy back home. Come on. You just got to hope for the adage to come true. Role players play better at home because they need somebody else to show up, like you're saying. They need Michael Porter Jr. have double-digit points at the very least, I would say.
Yeah. All right, let's move to some NBA news here. It is official. Celtics star Jayson Tatum suffered a torn right Achilles tendon during Monday night's playoff loss to the Knicks. Tatum has already undergone surgery, and an exact timetable for his return not immediately clear. He's expected to make a full recovery. We love to see and hear that, but he could be out for a while here, Tass. An Achilles tear typically comes with a recovery timeline of 8 to 12 months. So we may not see Tatum at all next season. I know it maybe depends on how the Celtics season goes, but it's very possible we don't see him at all next year.
Absolutely. Modern medicine is a wonderful thing, though. He could come back. We're talking about 8 months from now. I mean, that's not too far. It's in the middle of the regular season, towards the back end of the regular season. So he could come support this very good team. You're just going to ask more of Jaylen Brown and more of Derek White, primarily. Kristaps Porzingis is still there. Kenny's to have a great year. But there's still lots of good players on this team. So
you don't think the Celtics are taking a quote-unquote gap year next year?
Not with what they're paying right now. That they don't have an option, really.
No, that would be the option, would be trading those guys.
Yeah.
Derek White or Kristaps Porzingis or Drew Holiday. I mean, I think any of those 3 is kind of on the table right now just because there's not a way for them to compete for the championship next year. They've already got a wicked high payroll with a new owner coming in. They were going to have cost-cutting moves most likely this summer, depending on how the season went. They could have traded Porzingis after winning back-to-back titles, realistically, depending on how the new ownership is feeling. Like the most extreme move would be to trade Jaylen Brown, tank the season, gear up for Tatum's return in 26-27. I don't think they'll do that. More likely is like maybe Al Horford retires. You look at sending Drew Holiday's 3 more years somewhere else because that's a guy that can help teams win championships. They would have to think the Porzingis piece, the Derek White piece. Like I think those guys are potentially available as well. The Celtics are obviously a lot more accomplished. They've gone farther. They won a championship. Tatum has done more, but it's not dissimilar to the Bulls when Derrick Rose tore his ACL, where you're like, oh, we've got a championship contender here. They look like they're set up for a little bit. Uh-oh, we lost our number 1 guy. Now our team isn't a championship contender. How do we scramble around that? I do think the Celtics team's going to look different at the start of next season.
I'd argue they are a championship contender. I know it doesn't seem like that, but you can end up with those guys that we just mentioned and be a 4 seed, a 5 seed. You can still have a championship pedigree going into the playoffs. You need Tatum, obviously, to win. And we're talking 8 to 12 months. Like, he could be back in February. He could be back in March. No, he's not going to look the same, and that's unfortunate. But I do think all these guys that were saying, oh, Derek White, he could be a number 2 guy on the team. So him and Jaylen Brown got to work it. Yeah. Does this new ownership say, we just bought a team, but we got to rebuild this thing? I mean, I think they'll try and hold on to guys like Porzingis has only got 1 year left. You give it a whirl one more time and see what happens. The questionable one is Drew Holiday. He didn't look like
he's 34. He's starting to decline. He has a lot of years and money left, and you have guys, if you're the Celtics, that you feel probably confident in replacing him in his minutes. In
Pritchard,
obviously White and Pritchard, the 2 of them together more than makes up for it. So that one to me, but I don't know what you're looking at in return for him. Like Trey's right. Like the big move is like, wow, it is trading Jaylen Brown for pieces and obviously good players and maybe even picks that will help you sort of manage your books as you go on here and get very expensive because this is a second apron team. And you just take the down year and then Tatum hopefully comes back and is back to like nearly 100% as close as he can get in his prime, right? And then you sort of like start it over again. But that is drastic and he is a really good player and maybe he'll be even more elite. Without obviously Tatum there, but it's probably these other moves that it's the Drews, it's the Porzingis. Like you say Porzingis, but the guy can't stay healthy either. No, so it's becoming like it's sort of Garland-like. It's like, yeah, they're great players, they're really good, but they're never there when we need them, unfortunately. Yeah.
Well, he's I'm referring to him, or I'm pointing him out because he only has 1 year left on a contract. It's not like he's got this monstrous contract for five more years. What are you getting for Porzingis now? Probably not a lot. $30 million coming off the books. Plus all that luxury tax that you pay for it could be the recipe here. It could be the move. Unless somebody wants to take a chance on Kristaps Porzingis. I mean, they need a big, is what, after evaluating this whole roster, they need somebody to replace not only Porzingis but Al Horford as he gets old. Who is playing center for this team in a couple of years?
I think Cornette's even a free agent, right?
He is. Yeah.
So their big rotation could look quite different.
Yeah.
Crazy how many notable injuries we've had just this postseason alone, with now the Tatum injury here, the torn Achilles, Damian Lillard with the blood clots and the torn Achilles, Curry with the hamstring strain. That's obviously had a huge impact on what's going on out west. I guess even Garland, all the Cavs guys that we've already talked about. Jimmy Butler did have a pelvic contusion. He did miss a game here in the postseason. Ja Morant, hip contusion. I mean, just I can keep going, unfortunately.
Kawhi Leonard played 7 of 7 games.
He did. But, it's a lot of times. We see it time and time again. It's like, and I'm not saying it's like, who's the healthiest team wins, because, like, look at last year. I mean, the Celtics weren't fully healthy. They were missing a key piece, but their star players for the most part were, and it plays a part in almost every championship, it feels like, or it can, in terms of just staying healthy and keeping your core good through the postseason, which is not short. It's like 2 months long after a grueling regular season. But some of these are flukes, and some of these are just like, I mean, even the Tatum one, when you think about it, it's like he was lunging for the ball.
He's
done it a million times. Yep. So what happened on this millionth time? Well, he's played a lot of games. I guess people say that. Has anyone played more than him since he came into the league? I don't think so, in terms of regular season and playoffs.
Yeah.
But it's like, damn, it's just bad luck.
Just bad luck.
Yeah.
Drew Smith tore his Achilles this year. He's played like 8 games. It just happens.
Yeah. Drew Smith, I'd forgotten about him. That was one I had.
Happens to young guys too.
I guess Michael Porter Jr.
Yeah.
too is playing through a shoulder sprain. It's all bandaged up. So that is the playoffs, and that's postseason. Anything else on this, on the Celtics, on Tatum, what it means for the rest of the league? I mean, you've talked a little bit of like, wow, what an opening here, even more in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're Giannis, or you're like, I'd like to stay on an Eastern Conference team. Maybe. I mean, he plays for one. So that's a chance. I also don't necessarily think the Celtics are buried against the Knicks. They're still in a playoff series right now.
They are. They
are down 3-1.
Yeah.
They ain't looking good. They're going to MSG. But this is the perfect time to overlook a team when they're missing a guy after an injury. I heard Windhorst said, or maybe it was Bontemps said, that the Celtics were so down after losing Jayson Tatum, losing the game, obviously. They're on the verge of elimination without their best player. That's an easy one to overlook if you're the New York Knicks. They had their huge Game 3 that they turtled away as well. So we'll see how they play tonight.
You're right. If you get it tonight because you sort of catch the Knicks sleeping, then suddenly you're back at Madison Square Garden, and it's like then the pressure almost starts to turn to them because it's like you got to close it out here. You don't want to go Game 7 in Boston. Yeah, you're right. It's not over. I just feel the way the Knicks are playing to how the Celtics are playing.
Yeah.
Like I like their chances to win 1 of 3 games, I guess.
It's advantage Knicks, absolutely. I'm talking about like in a 1-game scenario, as in, are they going to lose tonight? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe Jaylen Brown goes for 40 points and the Celtics hit 25 threes. That's still a reasonable thing to happen. Though Tatum is like their number 1 generator of 3-pointers. So we'll have to see how the playmaking is for guys like Drew Holiday and Derek White. Derek White's kind of been the beneficiary of a lot of these swing passes. He's got to be the guy that starts the swinging as well.
Yep. Other news, the Portland Trailblazers are for sale. The estate of former owner Paul Allen announced Tuesday that it has begun a process to sell the franchise that is expected to bleed into the 25-26 season. All proceeds from the sale will go toward philanthropy. You know what I'm trying to say. Philanthropic is what I was trying to say. Endeavors per Allen's wishes, the team announced. Paul Allen, co-founder of Microsoft, he purchased the Blazers for $70 million in 1988, and he passed in 2018 following the death. His estate has run this, headed by his sister Jody Allen, but they're saying now, Tass, that they are looking to sell.
Interesting. Who wants it?
Phil Knight and Nike.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, I guess his son maybe. He's old. He's 87, I think Phil Knight is. But his son is with Nike. Yeah, whatever. It could be in the family here, obviously from the area as a possibility. Phil Knight did try and buy them a couple of years ago with some like real estate mogul, but that never happened. And actually probably good on the Blazers and the trust to not sell at that time and just wait, because Celtics are likely selling for $6.1 billion, which does elevate all team values. Not the Blazers are going to go for that, but you get my point here. I think they're recently valued. The Blazers are about $3.5 billion. So can you get 3.5? Can you get 4? Something like that?
You can.
Sure.
Maybe you can.
That's a quick check right from Phil Knight. No problem. Simple math there.
Do you think his signature is the Nike check?
Should just be. That'd be awesome, actually. Yeah.
Just draw it. We'll wait to see here.
I don't think you were meaning to say it like just do it. But just draw it is pretty funny.
I definitely didn't mean to.
Good time to get in on the Blazers, though. They had a fun second half of the season.
Yeah.
The weird thing about it is that all of their veterans were out, outside of Daigneault, but like Ayton didn't play a ton down the stretch. Simons didn't play a ton down the stretch. Jeremy Grant, this guy is still on the books until 2028. Unbelievable. Good to be friends with Damian Lillard, I suppose. But they got a lot of young talent there. And unfortunately, they're in the Western Conference, so uphill battle for sure, but they were a fun young team to watch, I thought, in the second half. Chauncey Billups had them playing defense, locked in. And that was the best they've looked, basically, since Billups took over, I thought.
Yeah, trajectory is upward, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it will be interesting to see what Joe Cronin does with the roster, period. Because this coming year is the last year for not Jeremy Grant, but everybody else, basically. Denny Avdia, probably one of the best dollars per point contract in the league, along with Andrew Nembhard. I would throw him in there since we're just talking about him, but that guy makes a ridiculous contract. But just him and Jeremy Grant are the only guaranteed ones, really. So after this coming year, Ayton's off the books, Simons is off the books, Robert Williams off the books, Matisse Thybulle is no longer there. But then, you got your young guys still in Scoot, Klingon, Sharp. Yeah, very bright future.
One series down, 3 to go, 2 potential closeouts tonight. Knicks at Celtics, 7 p.m. Eastern on TNT. So, as we talked about, can the Knicks win this in 5, or can Boston get it back to Madison Square Garden? Then we got the Warriors at Timberwolves at 9:30 on TNT. Minnesota leading 3-1. They can close out this series, and we know Steph Curry is not playing in Game 5. So, 2 chances here to wrap up these series, and Minnesota go back to the Western Conference Finals, and the Knicks to go to their first Eastern Conference Finals in a very, very long time. That's in play tonight.
I like the series ending in both scenarios tonight.
Oh, wow. Okay. Knicks on the road and Wolves at home.
Just because I said the Celtics can win doesn't mean
you're going to
say they are.
Nice. But you've covered your bases now.
Yeah, they can win. They absolutely can, but they're not going to.
Okay, so you got Knicks, Wolves. Where are you going, Tash?
Yeah, I'm taking the Celtics. Why not? Because I said the same thing about the Cavs yesterday. I felt like they will win one game at home this series. So I'm saying the same thing for the Celtics. They haven't won a home game yet. They've got to do it. They've got obviously a great home crowd. We'll see what they can do, though. Yeah, we need a Jaylen Brown game for them.
And the second game?
Oh, that's a toughie. Yeah, I do think it's over.
Yeah. I'm sort of with you. Feels like they smell blood, that team, and the Wolves are like, they get to approach this game going, hey, let's just win this now, and then there's no Steph Curry coming back to hit like 10 threes on us. Okay,
that's a good motivator.
Let's just do it right now. So I'm going to go Celtics Wolves. I'll take both home teams. I think Boston, I like that maybe, win one for Tatum type of vibe from them tonight, and that crowd should be electric too behind that squad to maybe get it back there. So Knicks Wolves, let's hear from you guys in the stream team, your predictions. We'll be back tomorrow to break down those games, get into the NBA news. Hopefully you'll join us then at 10 a.m. Eastern. Till then, Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, former teammates could both advance to the conference finals tonight in Anthony Edwards and Karl Anthony Towns. You think they call each other and say, hey, congratulations on advancing to the conference finals? That's pretty cool.
Well, if the Knicks win, Siakam could call or text OG Anunoby too. Say, hey, man, we're going to play each other.
You think all the Villanova guys will call Dante DiVincenzo if they win?
Sounds like a great short.
Yeah, say especially right before his game. They might be wrapping up. He might be in warm-ups.
Hey, we made it. Are you gonna?
Yeah, you make it too.
Wear your visor.
Our commercial's on nonstop. You better make it. All right, we'll be back tomorrow morning, guys. Brace the day, people.